please break down why the term ancient Egyptians is misleading and historically inaccurate, right? And what term did the so-called ancient Egyptians use to identify themselves?
So that's a very good question. So this is all part of what's called obfuscation. That means to hide something, in order to be disingenuous. It's like intentionally being disingenuous. And part of that is that if you actually hear the word Kemet, there are actually a couple of, I would say, contingencies that they plan for. And this is quote unquote white Egyptologists. One is that they never want you to hear the word Kemet, which is why they say ancient Egypt. They would prefer, the easy route for them is you never ever hear the word Kemet in your life. Then they have an easy route. All you hear is ancient Egypt, ancient Egypt. But then if you do hear the word Kemet, then the next level of obfuscation is, oh, well, Kemet means that the soil is black, right? It doesn't mean the land is, it doesn't mean the people are black, it means the soil is black. And then if you get past that, then they'll even say, Kemet doesn't even mean black at all. And I've heard all three from the same person, right? The exact same person will say, it doesn't mean black. Okay, it means black, but it doesn't refer to the people, it refers to the soil. And, all of these things are really the book that I'm working on. I mentioned earlier the construction of black civilization. Some people think that the reason why they do the obfuscation is because we used to have a glorious past and they don't want us to know about our glorious past. I don't think that that's the reason why. Some people say in the past we used to be spiritually connected. We used to do Egyptian yoga and I guess Egyptian kung fu and eat Egyptian pizza. It's like they just take any white concept and put Egyptian in front of it. They say, now this is the Egyptian version of this white thing that I already have. I don't actually want to learn anything from our ancestors. I just want to take the white thing I have and say Egyptian version of that. It's not about that either. When I actually look at the primary text from classical Kemet, you'll find text after text about how everything in Kemet was about keeping non-blacks out of the land of black people. So for black people, our name is our constitution. That's on an individual level, but it's also on a collective level. So if my name is Obadele, it literally translates to the king arrives at the house. When my parents give me that name, there are certain expectations that come from that because your name is expected to define you, direct you, delineate. It's expected to destine. It's supposed to do all of these various things for you. So that's on an individual level. But then on a collective level, what we call ourselves, it also is supposed to have an impact. So in Yoruba, they would say, Urukon Roni, which is the name that's having a deep psychological impact on the person. You understand? In Kiswahili, they say, Ukiridi jina ridi na mambo yake. That's he who inherits a name also adopts its affairs, right? That's to say, if you have a name, then it's expected that that name is going to have an impact on you. So someone who's born on Thursday, Yao Berima, you're expected to be brave because it's like saying Yao the brave man, right? That's the connotation. So if you're called Yao Berima, then someone will say, wouldn't the Yao Berima partner who for see? Like, how are you Yao Berima and you're such a coward, right? It's like that doesn't match, right? But then one of the highest accolades that someone can give to you in the tree language, you would say, Nidin Honam set. Nidin Honam set. Which is to say this person's name and their body resemble each other, right? So it's again, so now if you come to Kemet, right, we're going back to the idea of obfuscation. The reason why there's so much obfuscation is that in the primary text, you come very clearly to the reason why we called it Kemet was to make sure that black people, this is literally the land of black people. So if you don't understand the meaning of Kemet, you won't understand anything that's going on there. You won't understand why each ruler is trying to get more land of black people into Kemet and ignoring, like there's actually a text from Imahu Sanhat where it says that he will take the lands to the north. He will basically incorporate these lands to the south without thinking about the lands to the north. That is the lands of the non-black people. Even though he was made to crush the sand-faring Bedouins, right? So it's saying that literally he's going to extend the boundaries southwards, and he's not even going to consider the lands to the north. Well, if you don't understand that Kemet means the land of black people, you won't understand, well, why is he doing that? Why doesn't he just take all lands No, they're telling you he's only concerned of the lands of other black people and incorporating other black people into the nation, which is literally called the land of black people. What else would you expect when it's called the land of the black people? If you look at a text, and this is another text that I cover and translate, the prophecy of Imahu Neferti, it talks about these Amu, that's the term for these non-black Eurasians, these foreigners to the land of black people. It actually talks about a ruler named Ameni who will rise up from the south, and he will build walls of the ruler, how these Amu will fall to the flame and to the sword, and then Ma'at will return to her seat while Isfet is driven away, right? And it's literally saying that it's only after he has built those walls to keep the Amu out, these non-blacks, only after he's built those walls out, only after they fall to the flame and to the sword, that is a time where Ma'at returns to her seat while Isfet is driven away. Now, if you understand the meaning of Kemet, then it becomes perfectly clear. If you don't, then you have to just try to figure out something. Well, he just wanted to do it. I guess he just. Yeah. But literally, the name tells you everything that he's doing and why he's doing those things. Again, at Imahu Sanhat, the text I mentioned earlier, he mentions these walls of the ruler that were built to trample the sand-faring Bedouins and so forth and so on. So you find text after text. You find texts of the admonitions of Imahu Ipuwer, which is talking about any time these Amu, these non-blacks, these Eurasians come into the land of black people, they bring death and destruction, rape and ravishing, pillage and plunder. And you find that in literary texts, you find it in historical texts, you find, on the Techen of, well, two places. You find it on what they refer to as the Artemio Spiels inscription of Satra Hatshepsut. And then also on the obelisk, the Techen of Hatshepsut, she talks about how she raised up for the first time since the Hyksos, since the Amu were in Kemet destroying what was made. So she's raising up the things that they destroyed for the first time. And you're talking about, decades after the fact.